Agent Power Huddle is a daily jumpstart, giving you all the tools you need to create an amazing real estate career. Led by top experts in the field, you'll learn how to sell more houses in less time while creating the life you want. Welcome to the Agent Power Huddle.
Good morning, everybody. We've got an amazing show for you today. We are focusing on a question that is probably one of the most asked questions that people ask me offline. We got our guest coach, Mitch Stein. Mitch, how are you doing today?
I am tired, but I am here with yesterday I turned 49.
Ooh.
Turned 49 yesterday. My kids took me to Disneyland and I felt every minute of it. So
That's a fun 49th birthday, though.
But I am excited to be here. It was. My sister works there, so a free day at Disneyland is the best day at Disneyland. But I'm excited to be here with you. We're buddies. Like we met in an unconventional way, but you have proven to me that we can still love each other in real estate and not be under the same banner. So I love it. Love it.
100%. And so what we're talking about today, if you're just tuning in, we are talking about the do's and don'ts of hiring a virtual assistant. And so it's funny that we're talking about this because, one, I said this is probably one of the most asked questions people ask me about, right? Because if you're looking for leverage in your real estate career, that's probably one of the first places people go to is how do you find some type of support? But the way that Mitch approaches VAs is a little different. I don't know, would you say a lot different or a little different than how most people approach them?
A lot different. So
Okay.
I think a lot different. I think most virtual assistant companies, look, if you're in real estate, you get a lot of phone calls, you get a lot of text messages, you get a lot of emails from people trying to sell you stuff. A lot of times what it is, it's like, we're a headhunter. We're going to help you hire my aunt or my cousin over here. And then you've got to train them. You have to give them all the tools, right? It's very similar to hiring an employee here in the US. Like you have to supply all the tools, all the training. That's not really leverage for real estate agent. We're already busy training somebody. It's not leverage, right? It's another job. So what my company does, for example, is our virtual assistants come pre-trained, so that we know they hit the ground running. Day one, they're going to be able to jump in and participate. One of the things that I found once I started working with virtual assistants, for example, is that they sometimes know a lot more than I do because they've worked for multiple agents, right? The problem is that they've worked for these agents, and the number one thing that will get a virtual agent fired is that they do exactly what the real estate agent tells them. Because the real estate agent doesn't understand sometimes. They'll tell them, I want you to do X, Y, Z. They're setting the virtual agent up for a failure. So
why is that?
Well, I think what happens a lot of times is people think of a virtual assistant as more of a showing assistant. Right? They think they're going to be able to leverage off their whole job. And so one of the things that we add to our service, for example, is coaching aspect for the real estate agent. Look, there's things that you can leverage off and there's things that you can't. Making your calls to your customers is not something you can leverage off. That's your job. You just can't. And you can try to hire an ISA, but an ISA, which is an inside sales associate for people that don't know, or a telemarketer, we used to call them, that's to get you prospects, not to follow up on your existing leads and your SOI. That's your job, right? You have 5 jobs as real estate. Lead generate, lead follow-up, appointment setting, appointment follow-up, contract and negotiations. Those things you cannot leverage off. You cannot give those to somebody, I don't know how far the Philippines is, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 miles away, and expect your business to stay at the level it is. The reason people hired you is because they know, like, and trust you, not your virtual assistant, right? But the things that you can leverage off, are the things that real estate agents want to spend their most time on. What is that? Real estate agents love being on social media. We like it. We like that part. When a coach sits there and says, you need to spend an hour, commenting on people on social media, but that turns into 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, our whole day becomes social media. And then we're not doing 5 jobs. There's also, if you use a virtual assistant correctly, like we do in our programs, there's a level of accountability. So for example, every morning, my virtual assistant gets up, 8 o'clock, texts me, hey, I'm up, I'm working, what are you doing? And it reminds me, I'm paying somebody to work, so I should work too.
Well, you're saying there's a level of accountability for the agent, not just for
correct. Right. To the agent. If you set your virtual assistant up correctly. Matter of fact, Josh is on the call. He was my very first virtual assistant. He's here on the call. Josh, can you unmute yourself?
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me.
And we worked together in a different company that was hire your virtual assistant, train them, do everything yourself. And when Josh left that company, we got together and we started our company. So Josh is in the Philippines. He's here. So I wanted to bring a virtual assistant so you could ask him questions directly too.
I'm Philly's here. Why don't you give some people some background? Because we didn't really give much context. I mean, let them know you sell houses, you run a team, like a little bit on your background. Like you didn't just in a vacuum say, I'm going to start talking to virtual assistants. I mean, you were in the trenches selling houses.
I was in the trenches. I am in the trenches. I have a small team here in Claremont, California. And as a team lead, what I felt like I became, so she was a smaller team. What I felt like I was doing was I wasn't selling houses anymore. I was like helping people do flyers. I was coaching people. I was giving them. And then what I found was like, look, a lot of my team members, a lot of people that I coach, I will tell them to do something and they'll write it down. We'll watch this podcast and we'll be like, that was the greatest idea. And we write it down and say, we're going to do this. And then the phone rings and we put it on a piece of paper and it just piles up on our desk and eventually it gets thrown away. Right. So I needed to bring in a virtual assistant to like do my flyers, make sure my agents were posting on their social media, making sure they were doing their follow-up. So we just put a lot of systems in place that the virtual assistant kind of, like I said, there's a big level of accountability with my virtual assistants because we put a system in place and the virtual assistant makes sure that the system's still working. So I'll give you an example. On my team, we have quarterly calls. We have to call everyone in our database 4 times a year. So on Monday, our virtual assistant sends us a list and says, these are the people that you need to call this week. And Wednesday, Tuesday afternoon, if you haven't responded, Wednesday morning, they're like, hey, you got my email, right? Have you called any of these people? They're reminding us throughout the week. Most importantly is like there's specific people in your CRM that, you've got this long list of people that you have to call quarterly, but there's probably 5 people in there that you definitely got to call. So those are highlighted, right? At least call these 5. By Friday, if you haven't called those people, they just get a text message. So at least something's going out to them. So we have one of my agents here. His name's Justin. He was on vacation. So he told the virtual assistant on Monday, I'm not going to be here this week. I can't make these calls. I don't want to come back next week and have those calls doubled up. So the virtual assistant just sent the message out. He had a listing appointment while he was on vacation, right? The wheels are still moving. My virtual assistant, my personal virtual assistant, for example, does my social media. So every morning he gets up, he likes 50 posts. He writes 25 comments on people's pages, asking them questions about their life, making them feel special. We send 5 DMs. Somebody posts something about their kid on their page. My kid hit a home run. My kid did this. The DM is, congratulations on the home run. Is this the first time they've ever done this? I'd like to send them something to celebrate their achievement. Now, everyone gets a birthday message, and a lot of us do that. A lot of us send out birthday messages. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. It's a lost in translation. When was the last time your kid got an A on their spelling test, bragged about it on social media, and somebody sent you a present.
Never. And you're leveraging your VA to.
I don't do any of it. I don't do nothing. Right? I see it. I jump in if they respond. But the initial contact is done by the virtual assistant. We utilize them a lot for events. I found that we would throw these really nice events, big events. We would have 2 or 3 agents that would invite people, and we would have 8 agents that wouldn't invite anyone. And so the virtual assistants will create the page, they'll make the phone calls, they'll send the invites. I do use virtual assistants to make phone calls if it's a yes or no type of answer. I not a sales call, but I will use the virtual assistant if it's like, hey, this is Mitch's assistant, did you get the invitation to his gala? Yes. Are you going to be able to RSVP? No. Like, I will use a virtual assistant for that, because that's not something where I'm meaning to make a connection. Right? And so Josh and I sat down and we talked, and we said, there's got to be a better way to do this, as far as like just calling a random company and just getting a random person and trying to train them. And so what we do is we work in pods, right? It's very difficult to train one employee to do everything. As real estate agents, we know that. We're like, I have to learn how to use Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and I have to learn how to use CRM and whatever else is on the MLS and in Matrix, and it's a lot. It's a lot, right? So what we've done is when we have a virtual assistant, you have one person who's your point of contact, right? Mine happens to be named Nico, and then we have several people who do and specialize in specific things. This is especially helpful with CRMs. So instead of you calling me and saying, I use XYZ CRM, we're like, great, we're going to give you an employee and you have to train that employee on that CRM. You call me and say, I have XYZ CRM. And I say, great, I'm going to give you this virtual assistant because they're already trained on that CRM.
I love that.
And you see how fast we move. And so when I say there's a level of accountability to the real estate agent, what's happening is that you just got this CRM, or you've had this CRM for 2 years and never really touched it. And now you're working with an assistant who's like, I need this information. We need to do this. I got to put this in here. We need to set up this drip campaign. We don't have value burst. We don't have 36 touch. We don't have a follow-up program. What would you like us to do? Right? And the agent's like, oh my God. And if you say, well, I don't know what that is, revert back to coaching. I'm like, this is what it is. This is what it should look like. Go back to your VA and tell them what you want to do. So it's not just a virtual assistant company. It's also a training.
So let's ask Josh some questions while we got Josh here. So Josh, you said was your first VA, correct?
I was lucky. Well, no. He wasn't my first VA. He was my 5th VA. But before I had a VA company, he was, I kissed a lot of frogs, Jesse. I kissed a lot of frogs.
I love it. All right. So we're talking the do's and don'ts, Josh. When an agent is working with you in that capacity where you're, what do you think is some of the biggest mistakes Mitch has talked about some of the mistakes. What do you think some of the mistakes are that you see agents make when they're working with you?
Great question. The biggest mistake is that the level of expectation, they are expecting to be for virtual assistants to actually replace them on whatever they wanted, whatever they do for the job or for the business, basically. But in reality, a virtual assistant is just a good number 2. We're a great number 2. We can do the things that you guys don't want to do. Like the best example would probably be, just plot out your day, how you kind of run your business, right? And then whatever on the like the list that you have is like the thing that you don't want to keep doing, then pass it on to your VA. It's really just a level of expectation. Some clients expect us to be the one generating the business. Unfortunately, we can only help to a certain extent. We're good at marketing. Definitely, we can help out with marketing, handling your CRM, doing reminding you of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's still your call. It's still your show, So, yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I see that, is a level, there's a level of misconception, again, for me, that, again, we're not replacing you. We're just a number two for you guys.
Go ahead, Mitch.
I think the thing is that Josh and I are saying the same thing, just in a little bit of a different way, in the sense that it's like, you need to know. The reason we added the coaching aspect is I think a lot of agents are like, I need help, but I don't know what to have them do. Okay. And so that's why we added the coaching aspect. I think one of the things is that a virtual assistant sort of makes it abundantly clear that you don't have systems. Because if you had a system, it would be very easy to plug a virtual assistant in. Right? When I get a listing, what do I do? What is the system? Right? I order my 150, for us, we immediately reach out to the title rep and we order 150 homes that surround them, right? We get names and addresses and phone numbers. So that's the first thing that does. I don't need to do that. Virtual assistant can do that. They have the address, they have the information to my title rep. Boom, that triggers step one, right? What's step two? Step two is that we send everyone a postcard, right? I don't need to do that. I don't need to design that. I don't need to order it. And I certainly don't need to, I don't need to get involved in any part of that process except before it goes out, I approve it. That's it, right? But it's a system. And I've given my virtual assistants everything they need to do. I've been on coaching calls before where someone said they were a Canadian real estate agent. And they were saying, we want to start advertising snowbirds. We want to advertise in the winter in Canada about how you can buy in the US where there's sunshine. Great. Make a flyer. Oh, we don't have anyone who can do that. I literally sent one email to my virtual assistant and them. And in the email, I said, make sure you get their logo and do the thing. The flyer came back. They wanted to switch out the main picture. We switched out the main picture. This took an hour. The person had a finished flyer in their inbox with their information on it. I coached the person the following week and I said, what happened with the flyer? And they said, we haven't printed it yet. These are where the breakdowns happen. Now in my system, we have a print company. So we also set it up where our virtual assistant has access to our printer here in the US. So they can just hit print for me. And I just walk to the printer and I pick it up. But we have very clear systems in place. Now, the thing that it did for me and my team was we realized our systems weren't as good as we thought they were because there was always a stopping point where an agent had to get involved, right? Like, for example, the actual printing.
That's my question is how it is when you were talking about the do's and don'ts of working with a VA, it sounds like you don't have to have systems to start with, but as you work with it, you're going to be refining your systems as you go because it's just by the virtue of doing it, it's going to make your systems better, correct?
Yeah, I think the thing is look, virtual assistants starting out for individual agent, $600. You spend that on a postcard, right? Every morning, every Monday, every weekday, you get a text message reminding you that your virtual assistant's there to help. I think when people say, well, what level should I be at where I get a virtual assistant? Any level where you are willing to make an investment into your business and say, I need to develop the systems that if you're on this call, you're here to learn systems, right? But are you actually implementing everything that we teach you? Everything you learn on this call, wherever you get your training. I have learned as a real estate coach that I will say things 12 times and they just won't get done. But if you have someone, this is their job to do it, and you've made an investment in that person, typically you move that needle quite rapidly. Like I said, the biggest don't I have is what Josh said. People think they're going to call a VA company. This person's going to kind of like just replace them, that this other human is going to take on their job. If you're looking to be lazy, virtual assistants, well, this isn't the career for you. if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for leverage, and here's the thing too, I use my leverage sometimes for things that aren't real estate. I have an RV, and the city that I live in changed the rules about where to park the RV. And I was like, I got to call the city and find out what the new rules are because they're not online. We all know calling a city, asking them for rules is a 2-hour phone call. So I called my virtual assistant and I said, listen, I need you to call the city and find out these exact things. A couple hours later, in my inbox was a copy of the new regulations and where to go get the permit. Is my time as a real estate agent, my work hours, more valuable going out, talking to people face to face or on the phone or on hold with the city?
That's an easy one, right?
Should be. But Josh said something that is really, really important, and that is a lot of real estate agents are looking to avoid certain tasks in their inbox, right? And so we'll levitate to the ones that we like to do, and we will avoid the other ones, including building systems. Building systems isn't sexy and fun, right? Showing houses is sexy and fun. Going to events is sexy and fun. But when you throw an event and no one shows up, not fun. Just expensive. One of the things that we do in our coaching program with the VAs too is we teach you that an event doesn't have to be expensive, right? So for example, this is June, Juneteenth, which is a holiday that is celebrated here in the U.S. I don't know if you guys are outside of the U.S., but celebrated here in the U.S. My city does a big ceremony where they raise the Juneteenth flag. So I go to that ceremony and I invite my sphere of influence to come with me, and everyone that comes with me, we attend a barbecue afterwards, right? I invite about 600 people that live in the city, right? I invite about 600 people, but 600 people feel special because they were invited to an event. About 10 show up. My portion of the event cost me about $300. But 1,000 people got invited. I can't, for 600 people, excuse me, I can't invite all those people personally. My virtual assistant invites them. My virtual assistant sends them those things. My job is for people that do show up, for me to be there face to face to tell them I'm part of the community. I'm here, whatever you need. That makes sense?
Love it.
And I think that when you wrap your brain around that, you start building these systems out with a virtual assistant, it starts to be fun again as well. Right?
Because you're focused on the things that you actually want to do.
Right. You're focused on the things that you want to do. So I wrote some quick do's and don'ts. I know we've got like 6 minutes here. If anyone has questions, please put them in the chat for us as well. Just be very clear. If you hire a virtual assistant, you have to be very, very clear about what you want. So they're going to do exactly what you ask for. It's like the monkey spot. Be careful what you ask for. So for example, I once very quickly sent off a text message saying, I need a form that does this, this, and this, and this. And what I got back an hour later was a Google form. What I was really wanting was a flyer, right? So now, what's great about it coming back an hour later was when it wasn't what I needed. I was able to be like, no, I meant a flyer, right? That was me. That was me not being clear about what I want. Systems. You got to have systems in place. So you're going to have to be patient with them, because if you don't know what your systems are, they don't know what they are. They can make suggestions, but at the end of the day, this is your business, right? So having some sort of, if you don't know what your systems are, you don't have systems, please get into some sort of coaching program. Like I said, our virtual assistants come with a coaching program. So, and then set and repeat. You can't say something doesn't work until you've done it consistently for 6 months. You cannot go door knock once and say it didn't work. You cannot cold call once, it didn't work. Everything works if you do it consistently. Period. Right? Don't set and ignore. Systems break down. Systems change. Systems are, right? Sometimes there are tweaks that are needed within your system. So don't just set it and ignore it and then say, oh, there's this gap. For example, we've got this great program for someone to make flyers, but then who has to print them, right? Don't set and ignore. Make tweaks. Every day that you get up, you should be writing down things that you do not want to do, but should be doing. What I do when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning is I ask myself 3 questions. What is something I did yesterday I should repeat? What is something I did yesterday I should not repeat? And what is something I didn't do yesterday that I will do today? Now here's the 4th question that you should ask yourself. What can I give away? And what should I be doing more? Right? Very simple. How long you brush your teeth? 3 minutes. What did I do yesterday I should repeat? What did I do yesterday I should not repeat? What did I not do yesterday that I should do today? And that's your tasks. That's your first tasks in the morning, is to deal with what those 3 things are. With me, it's usually I shouldn't have ate that second churro. I will exercise today. I won't eat 2 churros today. But that's another class. And then remembering our 5 jobs. So anything you're doing that isn't lead generate, lead follow-up, appointment setting, appointment follow-up, contracts and negotiations, that's not your job. That's not your job. We'll also say about virtual assistants is stop being so picky. No one cares about the font. No one cares about whether it's eggplant or whatever other color, special color. When I coach new agents, they want to always show me about the most amazing business card they've ever made in their whole entire life. No one cares. What they care about is you. What's special is what people are hiring is you. Not a business card, not a flyer, not a website. You. And if you are authentic and come from a place of service, you will be the most successful real estate agent on the block. Any questions? We have 2 minutes.
Will you give people, someone just dropped in the chat, that was Josh. Thank you, Josh. I was saying, contact me. If people have questions later, they want to reach you. They go to the website, coachmitchstein.com. Is that the best place to find you?
It is. That's my personal email and my cell phone number. Thank you, John. So now you know exactly how to get a hold of me.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying that one out loud. Only people who are here live get that one.
No, it's in the chat room. It's fine. It's fine. You can Google my cell phone number. It's fine. Also, I want to say to your guests, we do have a promo code. So if you say bold when you go to the checkout at coachmitchstein.com, you get 20% off your first order. So use the promo code BOLD, all one word. You get 20% off your first order. Like I said, virtual assistant is $600. You pay that in a postcard.
Well, here's what I'll say, because I mean, if you guys have watched Agent Power Huddle for a while, I hope you know anyone we have here, we don't get paid anything. There's no affiliate fees. We just have people on that we've either are friends with, that we know their stuff works, that we are friends with, and we know their stuff works, right? We're like Coach Mitch, I've seen go through all his kind of iterations and phases. And I like the take on this virtual assistant company where it's not just you have, like, they have pods of people that are specialized in tasks. When he described that to me, it was very different than anything I'd heard before. So I really wanted to have him come in and just break down what they do. So thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate you guys being here. This is fantastic this morning.
Thank you. No, thank you, Jesse. And as always, I really enjoy spending time in Jesse's world.
It's good to see you. Josh, nice to meet you. Coach Mitch Stein. Everybody else, thanks for being here. Have a great morning, guys.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.